All right, so here we go. Here are your assignments dealing with our first couple of lessons. So after you did your first two lessons, I'm hoping you have the skill to complete some of these drawings. All right, now my drawings here are drawn a specific size and all that. At this point in AutoCAD, I'm not worried about you doing anything any specific size. I want you just to make your drawings as approximate to these as possible. Now to help you out, some of the things I want you to have set is I want you to have your grid turned on down here at the bottom. Moving over, it's going to help you out a lot to have your polar tracking on over to here. Snapping to reference lines. As you work with it, you'll figure out what that's doing for you. And then last but not least, OSnap. So those things turn on, and I should say this one pretty much just stays on all the time. So those are the buttons you should have to press down here and turn to blue. So here's your first drawing. Again, I'm not worried about yours being exactly the same spacing as mine. Make it as similar as you can. Don't really want you putting in numbers and making anything any specific size. Just make yours look as approximate to this as you can. So first you're going to do this drawing. I'll pause here for a second so you can see that. Then next, I'm going to just pan across here. And this is the way I want you to do yours. Is just do them all in this drawing right here. And next, I want you to do this one. This one's representing maybe a shelf or something like a bookcase or something like you might have in your house. Some sort of a shelf there, a front view of that. This one's representing the top view of like a big brick or block that the school building would be made out of. I'm looking at some of those in the classroom right now. So the top view of that. And again, trying to get these two squares the same size. Using the skills, the line, the circle, and the arc commands right now is what I want you using. So doing that. If you have skills from other things, go ahead and just keep it to the skills that you've learned up to this point. Next, side view of a very simple little representation of a house. Moving across. Just this. You learned how to do arcs and make arcs continue onto each other. Try to recreate this shape. It might take you a few times of getting started and making this first arc just that shape, and then making your second arc stop and start at the same place, and making this shape that's somewhat symmetrical on both sides. I don't want to see yours have a real weird and crazy shape. I want to see something pretty similar to this, is what I'm going to be looking for. Moving on across. Next, this shape. Again, not this perfect shape. It doesn't have to be a perfect, what is that, hexagon. It does not have to be a perfect hexagon. Just use your line command and make your shape as close as you can to that. Next, using the line command and the circle command, make this shape. That's the top view of a little hammerhead. And last but not least, this one might be a little bit of a challenge, but do your best. Again, I'm not worried about anything being perfect or being symmetrical at this point, and making a little screwdriver. Again, they don't have to look perfectly like this. I just have mine drawn this way so you can see. These are little assignments from the book. And I think it's just easiest for you to see them here in the video and me to explain them as I go. All right, so there's your assignments you're going to do. Now next is going to be the upload of these. I'm going to create just one assignment with this. It's going to be lesson 2 activity. Your lesson 2 activity, I want you to include 3 different snippings. So the first snipping, and I want you to be zoomed in there pretty tight. I don't want you to be zoomed way out here so you can select all of them when you do your snipping. Otherwise, it's a very fuzzy drawing when you upload it. I want you to be zoomed in there pretty tight. So the first snipping, I want you to have these 2 pictures. So again, when I create that snipping, I'm going to go snipping tool, and I'm going to go new, and I'm going to put a box. Oops. I'm going to put a box just around those first 2. There's my first snipping for lesson 2 activity. First snipping, lesson 2 activity. Then, I'll go ahead and save that. Lesson 2 activity. All right, I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to repeat my snipping command. This time I'm going to, oops, mine just went away. I'm going to repeat my snipping command again. Let me get zoomed there where I want it to be first. This next one I want to be around those 3 objects. So I'm going to go snipping. Ow, not an AutoCAD over here. Snipping, This one I wanted around these three objects. So those three right there. And that's going to be your next new snipping. Save as, and I'm going to name it lesson 2 activity. Oh, that first one, I should put number 1 on there, but lesson 2 activity, and it's going to be number 2 snipping. The other one's just going to be number 1. That's okay. You're going to go save. And we're going to do another new snipping. I think first though, I am going to need to pan across here. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit on those two. And I'm going to do another new snipping. And, oops, this is going to be my third snipping. So 3 different snippings there. And again, obviously I'm going to call this lesson 2. And I'm just going to make this lesson 2 number 3 and save that one there. So you're going to have lesson 2 activity, lesson 2 activity number 1, lesson 2 activity number 3. If you wanted to rename this one lesson 2 activity number 1, that's fine. So we should have activity number 1, activity number 2, and activity number 3. So these are the activities that go with it, different than your first one that you did before. Those are going to be, there will be a place to upload those on the student view to take those 3 images. Good luck, and you can work on that this hour.